Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Racing Debrief, and we're back with our more normal Racing Debrief episodes. You guys missed last week's episode. It was a good one. We went through and went over everything that I did when I went to New Hampshire for the NASCAR Xfinity Series and NASCAR Cup Series races. We went over basically the whole weekend from Friday to Monday, what I did at the track and away from the track. And also went over some of the items that I bought, including this new hat, look at that, and this new shirt that I didn't get to show off, but I'm pretty happy with that. Of course, going to New Hampshire, watching Kevin Harvick's final race. At New Hampshire, final race that I'd get to see him race in person was very, very special. So, if you guys missed that episode, I definitely recommend you guys going and checking that out. And who knows, maybe next year we'll go back to New Hampshire again. We're talking about it. Early planning of that. Of course, we're waiting for the schedules to come out and see when it would be, but early planning of that. So that's pretty fun. But on to what we've seen in racing this week. So let's start with the NASCAR side of it. Of course, we're going to start off with the NASCAR topic here. We might as well dive into that. And oh boy, did we see some good racing. First of all, we had the truck race and Xfinity race. We're not really going to touch too much on those races because there's a lot to talk about in the Cup race specifically. So, first of all, we did see Kyle Busch win the truck race, 100th win for his team. That's a pretty cool achievement for him. So, yeah, cool to see him win that race. I know a lot of times, you don't want to see necessarily Cup drivers come down and take wins in the lower levels, but to a certain extent, I feel Kyle Busch winning in trucks is okay because he owns the team, so who cares? He owns the team, let him race it. I don't have a problem with it. Xfinity, I don't even remember who won the Xfinity race. Who won the Xfinity race? I watched the whole damn thing. Some guy who won Xfinity. I forgot. I was like, was it Josh Berry? No, he crashed at the end. Oh, because it's Austin Hill. Yeah. Austin Hill snuck in a win. A lot of the junior motorsports cars crashed at the very end. That's pretty much all I remember from that race, to be honest. A lot of those races. So here's the other thing that I guess I should state. So I have every Sunday off from work to watch racing. I was like, I'll work whatever days. Don't want to work Sunday. I want to be able to watch F1. I want to be able to watch NASCAR. So I need the whole day, the whole block. And so that's the one day I'm not working. So when it comes to other, sessions of racing for F1, it comes to qualifying, it comes to practice, it comes to the sprints. Like, I may not watch them live, or I may not watch them, at all. And you look at something like NASCAR, I will watch the truck and I will watch Xfinity races, but if I don't catch them live, I'm fast forwarding through, kind of just watching the race, and so I end up not necessarily paying as much attention to it. So I'll be honest with that. But for Cup, I'm fully engaged watching that whole thing. So let's dive into it. Cup race today. We saw a lot of action throughout the field. I mean, Pocono is one of those tracks that you kind of forget how good the racing is. So that when I think of Pocono, I'm like, Pocono's on one of the tracks that's like not really high on my list of damn, I can't wait to watch Pocono. Pocono or Richmond, Texas, those are the third. I'm just like, I don't care. But when you watch Pocono, there's a lot of moments that are like, damn, that's actually pretty good. And especially the restarts when they're going, 4, 5, 6, even 7 wide on the straight, funneling into that corner, it gets a little wild. So, you had Joe Logano crash after winning stage 1. dragged his car around. And I guess that's where the first moment of, what we got to discuss comes into this. And, the next gen car, when it came out, it was one of those things that they went to thinner tires. And when you go to the thinner tires, there's no inner liner in the wheels. And the cars bottom out and they can't move. The old cars, they can still run with a flat tire at any track. Even the ones without the inner liners, the short tracks, you can still run. And you're good. But something about this car, they're pretty much done when you get a flat tire and you're going to be dragged around the track. And I think that when you see how they drag Joe with the gun around the track, it's a bit ridiculous. I felt like, he was in turn 1. Why couldn't they just drag his car back into the pits and just say, you got to lose a lap or you got to lose 2 laps? Like, whatever the equivalent that he would lose by dragging him around, just penalize him that, right? If you're going to say, okay, if we had to drag you from turn 1 all the way around the track, all the way around 2.5 miles, however much he was going to lose, just say, you got to sit here for 2 laps. Okay, do that. Do something like that. But I felt like it was unnecessary to drag him around. I think what Joe the Gunner said of having a set of tires to put on the car, replace the flat tires, something that they can do, because it tore up his car more than it needed to be. I mean, he crashed. He wasn't going to perform as well anyways. But just to tear up the car more, put more work on the team, really affect his day in general, even worse than it was, felt unnecessary. And I think that that's something they need to take a look at fixing. Speaking of things they did fix, though, is seeing how these cars broke apart. We've seen it twice. Of course, they've worked on fixing the car to have it break more. I know it's weird to say, but the old generation of car would crumple up. You'd crash and your race is over. So when they made the next gen car, they made it super, super durable, which was, it's cool. I mean, I didn't really like it. I kind of like when you crash, you're crashed. I feel like that's how it should be. If you crash, then your race is messed up. I don't feel like you crash and be like, hey, I can come back and finish in the top 10. So I kind of liked when the cars broke apart more, to be honest. But they made a car that's just so, so durable. And, seeing the impacts drivers took last year and this year, the concussions drivers had, Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman last year. Guys saying this is the hardest hit I've ever had after every race. Different drivers saying that. Going in, weakening some of the bars. I know they did it in the back of the car, and now they're doing it at the front of the car. Cutting holes in certain spots or removing bars. I think it's brilliant to really see the cars crumple up more like they used to. Again, I know part of that was also the cost, for the teams, whatever, the cost cutting. But it comes to a point where what matters more is the driver being safe than your sheet metal getting bent up or your, bars in the front of your car getting bent, right? So seeing Suarez hit the wall the way he did and the front crumple up, but he's good. And seeing the way that Austin Dillon, when he crashed, he's good. Neither one of them got hurt, neither one of them got a concussion, right? And that's the part of it that you want to see. So I think that shows improvement from NASCAR on the safety side of it. So that's brilliant. Another part about Pocono that was interesting was, of course, seeing the pit strategies. I feel like pit strategies, fuel strategies are things that we don't get to see or don't get to see on that big of a scale. Lots of times with stages, because again, we used to have a lot of fuel races, and especially Pocono always brought that in. So it's very, very cool to kind of see those types of racing again. Kyle Larson winning stage 2 when he was just about to pit because Christopher Bell spun. That was interesting. Of course, he was able to make it to the end, but very, very close. Very cool to, have that moment of like, ooh, is he going to make it? Is he going to run out? Is he going to run out after winning the stage? But before you can pit, like, what's going to happen, it added in a lot of variables and a interesting scenario into the races. But now we'll jump back to the Austin Dillon crash. That's the first, I guess, of the three controversial moments, I guess, from the race. Two actual controversial, one and one that doesn't really matter. So, to me, and as was said on the broadcast, as Dale Jr. said, it will look like Austin Dillon moved down the track. I mean, Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick, they're going into that corner. They got to make the turn, and it really looks like Austin Dillon moves down, takes himself out against Tyler Reddick. But Austin Dillon clearly was not happy. Threw his helmet at Tyler Reddick. Said in his post-race interview, essentially that Dale Jr. was wrong. And also said that he has to wreck more people. So, we'll see how NASCAR takes that. I think they'll probably be watching Austin Dillon. Don't think you're going to get penalized for saying you're going to crash somebody. But, yeah. It definitely was one of those things that is like, damn, should you have said that? Probably not. But yeah. That was the first one. Again, I think that Austin Dillon took himself out. But that's just me. Next, we have Denny Hamlin's incidents. The first part of his incidents was Alex Bowman spinning himself out. Or not really spinning himself out, but getting spun out by the loss of downforce as Denny Hamlin got close to the back of his car. He spun out. Of course, we were going to say Denny Hamlin did it on purpose, because why would you not? Denny Hamlin drives a Toyota. Why not give him hate? But, yeah, he didn't take out Alex Bowman. Now, the situation that is the most controversial from the race is Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. So, I believe it was a restart from that incident where Bowman spun. They're going into turn 2 off of turn 1. Pocono is a weird track trying to figure out where they're at, if I'm honest, when you're watching it sometimes. I think they're coming off of... Yeah, I think they're coming off of 1, off of 2. I don't know, they're coming off of a corner. Okay, that wasn't the last turn. And... Oh, that had to be off of 1. Yeah, that was off of turn 1. Turn 1's such a wide corner. There's... Yeah. I'll be honest, Pocono's the only track that I get confused by corners. Only one. The rest of them, I got you. That one confuses me because there's like 10 straights. But yeah. Off the turn, Denny Hamlin definitely moves up into Kyle Larson, puts him in the wall. I'm being 100% honest with you on that one. I think Denny Hamlin put him in the wall. There's nothing else to say about it. Denny Hamlin put Kyle Larson in the wall. Denny Hamlin said Kyle Larson could lift. I don't think so. Maybe he could have lifted, but it probably would have been worse. It definitely looks like Denny Hamlin had the bottom and moves up towards Larson, puts him in the wall. Seems kind of unnecessary to me. They say they're friends. Don't think you just want to put your friend in the wall like that. I get it's a highly competitive moment. Denny Hamlin did the same thing to Ross Chastain last year. Think Ross Chastain deserved it. Don't think Kyle Larson does. I don't think this is the same scenarios that we had in Kansas. I think Denny Hamlin genuinely messed up in Kansas. But it is unfortunate for Kyle Larson that both of the times that Denny Hamlin's won has come at the expense of him. I think that this is going to be something we're going to talk about for a week. Definitely think it's a interesting moment to see how Kyle Larson handles it. His post-race interview, he seemed definitely heated about it. Of course, saying, Denny Hamlin's always right. Those types of things. I think that it'll be something they'll work through. They're friends off the track. I think that's something that's important. I think asking the question, how it affects your relationship off the track wasn't the most necessary thing. I think that it's one of those things I'll talk about it, but it's unfortunate that Denny Hamlin has issues with Kyle Larson on the track, and they're friends off the track. It's a weird scenario. Do I think Denny Hamlin did it 100% intentionally? I don't know. I wouldn't say he did it 100% intentionally, but I wouldn't say he didn't do it unintentionally. That's how I'm going to leave it. I don't think he fully went into it saying I'm going to take Kyle Larson out, but I also don't think he went into it saying I'm not going to run up the track. That's my thought on that. At the end, we had the last restart. We're going down 2 to go. Ryan Preece spins out. NASCAR doesn't call a caution. I feel like, I don't know, I got mixed feelings on it. I'm glad they didn't, because I don't think we need another restart, but I'm surprised they didn't. I think in that scenario they should have. There was plenty of time to throw the caution. Christopher Bell spun earlier and we called it. Ryan Preece spins and we don't call it. I don't know. I think that they probably should have called it. Unfortunately, they're not going to get called out for their inconsistencies as much, because I feel like the Denny Hamlin situation will take over that whole thing. I would have liked to see another restart. I would like to see if Kevin Harvick could have got up there, made a pass. Damn, I'm hoping for that win, dude. Man. And we need a Kevin Harvick win, dude. We'll take 4th, I guess. Ty Gibbs got 5th. That was cool. First top 5 of his career. So, happy about that. Happy to see my drivers 4th and 5th, but damn. I was hoping for a Harvick win. Going to Richmond. Got Michigan coming up. Hopefully. Hopefully one of those two. Man. We're getting close to the end of the season. 15 races to go. Gotta get a win. Gotta get a win. Yeah. Denny Hamlin got a lot of boos, though. That was wild. It was cool. Toyota's 600th win across all 3 national series. Very, very cool to see that, for sure. Awesome to see. I love it. So, speaking of winning and lots of wins, let's jump on over to F1. Of course, the big news this week, Daniel Ricciardo replacing Nick DeVries for the rest of the year. It's definitely cool to see Ricciardo back racing. That's awesome. I'm excited. Glad to see he's in that spot. Nick DeVries, it's a bit unfortunate for him. I would have liked to see him do a whole year. I definitely was supportive of him taking that spot, but I get why they took him out. He didn't perform well. You got Daniel Ricciardo chilling. Sergio Perez is struggling in the main Red Bull spot. This weekend he kind of turned around, got a podium, qualified 9th instead of 15th. Still not brilliant. He should be qualifying top 3. But, I'm going to be honest, I didn't get to watch qualifying this week. I had to go to work relatively early. So, I didn't get to see the results. Or I didn't get to watch it. I seen the results. Lewis getting pole. I would like to have seen it, though, to see the way that the tires worked. I know they're changing the rules because we'll save the environment by getting rid of a tire compound or something. So, yeah. But, I don't know. I didn't get to see it. But we go into the race. Alpine's doing their thing, taking each other out. That was brilliant. Alpine's gonna Alpine, I guess. So, yeah. Boy, what else was there? Well, Red Bull won. Max won. 7th win in a row for him. 12th in a row for Red Bull. Setting the record all time for consecutive wins. It's awesome to watch. I mean, I've seen the last 12. It was brilliant. I loved it. I've loved every minute of it. Looking forward to, hopefully continuing it. It's exciting to see Max on 7 wins. Can he break Vettel's record? Can he go to Belgium, Netherlands, Monza, I believe the next 3, and, get those wins? Can he do that? I think it'll be brilliant to watch. I hope he does. Yeah. I mean, I love Sebastian Vettel, but seeing Max get potentially tie or break that record would be so cool. So hopefully he can do it. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. Next week we'll be back. NASCAR is racing Richmond. Is it both series, or I think this may be the Road America week for Xfinity. Yeah, so we got trucks on Saturday at Richmond, Xfinity on Saturday at Road America. So they're back to like the Road America solo adventure. They used to do Road America solo for years until Cup went there for 2 years before they switched out Road America for Chicago. Then, of course, Cup is at Richmond. So there's only 5 races left of the playoffs for Cup. Trucks, it's the final race to get to the playoffs, and Xfinity has, I don't know how many races. They got a lot. There's still 7 for Xfinity, but Cup's got Richmond, Michigan, Indy Road Course, Watkins Glen, and Daytona coming up. It's going to be a good one. Either way, there's that next week. F1's to Belgium, and then it's a summer break. So, either way, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the racing debrief. And again, if you guys missed the last week's episode, make sure you go check that out. I recap my whole adventure in New Hampshire from Friday driving up to the track, Saturday for the Xfinity race. What I did on Sunday, well, chilling. In the extra day, we stayed in New Hampshire on Monday for the Cup race. So if you guys missed that, make sure you guys go check that out. Video is titled My First Cup Race in 10 Years. So yeah, or my first NASCAR race in 10 years. Either way, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next one.